Sensei Jeff Speakman, thank you very much for coming on my show. How are you, sir?
I am wonderful. Thank you so much for the invitation. This is really a privilege, so I'm very, very grateful.
The privilege and the honor is all mine, Sensei. I've been a fan of yours for many, many years. Grew up in the early 90s, loved martial arts movies. You had so many big stars coming out at this time, such as Van Damme, Seagal, Chuck Norris. And when I saw
Right.
you in the movie, the 1991's Perfect Weapon, and what you brought to the screen with Kenpo Karate, my goodness, that was just a whole new ball game. I remember a couple of years back, my friend and I, Aidan, if he's listening, a big shout out to Aidan Riley, and we did a movie podcast every week. We'd pick a movie and I say, we got to do this one. I said, you got to do a movie called The Perfect Weapon. He goes, what is it? So I showed him the trailer. He was blown away by the kata you were doing at the beginning of it. And he goes, this guy's awesome. You know, he's got everything an action movie star needs. He's a good looking guy, great shape, real martial arts. As soon as he said the word real martial arts, he saw that scene where you're defeating 4 thugs in one go. And
Yeah, right.
he goes, we were in a coffee shop and he literally jumped out his seat, ran home, watched the movie. Next day he goes, I couldn't believe that movie. Thanks for the recommendation, Addy. That was one of the best things I've ever seen. And he goes, all right, let's get to work on the podcast. And he was blown away by your work, sir, just like everybody was, because in all honesty, you brought a real martial art to the screen that nobody had ever seen before.
Right. Yes. And that was the intention, you know, because I was a personal student from Ed Parker, who was very famous for really launching Kenpo Karate around the world. And ironically, it turned out that I was one of the last 4 proteges of Ed Parker, who, as you may know, tragically died right after we were done filming. So he actually never saw the whole movie. Because we finished principal photography at the end of November of 90, and then he died December 15th of 90. And it was released in March of 91. But he was on the set with me every day that we did anything martial arts. He saw some edited fight scenes together, and he was as ecstatic as you were when you first saw it, because he was so thrilled to finally see his art of a life. You know, he was Bruce Lee's American teacher, was Elvis Presley's teacher. He opened the first karate school in the United States. So this is a guy who had done pretty much everything he ever wanted to, except he never did a movie the way he wanted it done, you know, which was to highlight Kenpo. And that's what The Perfect Weapon was.
Well, I gotta say, it was one of without a shadow of a doubt. If nobody has watched this movie, I highly recommend you go watch it. Find it any way you can. You're going to be blown away by the stuff this living legend himself has done in this. Non-stop compliments here, because you're the second person I've actually interviewed who I grew up watching on TV. Again, it's an honor to have you on my show, sir. Thank you again.
Thank you so much. No, it's such a pleasure to be here. So thank you.
You're still a charmer after all these years. I've got to admit to that. Seriously. Before we get started, I was going to say, I bet you there's this question I wanted to ask you. I know Scott Adkins asked you this question. If he's listening as well. Hello, Scott, one fellow Brit to another, and one martial arts lover.
Great guy.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Great guy.
I've met so many people.
Fantastic.
I've known so many people who've met him in person. He goes, he's just the nicest person you've ever come across. And yet he's played quite a few villainous characters, but yet when he talks, he's just like so nice, so kind, so charming, and just like yourself. I mean, I've never seen you play a villain, but what you did in all those movies, such as The Perfect Weapon, obviously, Deadly Takeover, The Expert, what you did, because you worked with James Brolin, who's Josh Brolin's son. Right. You worked with William Shatner in the movie Land of the Free. That just popped back into my mind just now. And you've also worked with Lou Diamond Phillips as well in the movie Striking Range.
Yes.
Well, I saw the encyclopedia is going off in right now.
Yeah, right.
And but the most important question I need to ask you as well, and Scott Adkins, when you did the movie, Perfect Weapon, you're doing the opening sequence to the Kata, and you have the song on "I Have the Power" by Snap. How much do you hate hearing that song now? So I was going to play it just a bit ago.
Well, I hated it more when the movie was more popular, because it was everywhere all the time. Every interview I did, they led with that. as an opening thing. So it was more stale back then, but now it's it's become identified with me in the movie, and so it's just cool. I just love it.
And every time I listen to that song, it just goes. My mind goes back to the Perfect Weapon. I
Yeah,
think the Perfect Weapon definitely
yeah,
elevated its status. It had to do that. It had to do that. But
yeah.
that is one of the most, as a compliment I'd like to give to you, that is without a shadow of a doubt one of the most beautiful forms of kata I have ever seen in martial arts. And you did mention it's
Thank you.
from Kenpo 5.0 as well as Kenpo. Is it 4?
Yes, back then there was no Kenpo 5.0 yet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So that was really Kenpo 4.0, or just known as Kenpo Karate. But that kata was really important because it's actually a combination of two Kenpo forms, form number 4 and form number 6. But the other important thing is right in the middle of that, I stop and I come to a horse stance and I do a series of hand movements like
Yeah.
this. That's actually out of a Goju-Ryu kata called Tensho. And I did that because, I started Goju-Ryu before Kenpo. In fact, I was introduced to Ed Parker from my Goju-Ryu instructor, Lou Angel, who they were great friends back in the day. But that I did that specifically because I knew Angel would be sitting in a movie theater in Joplin, Missouri, when my movie came out. And so I never told him that I did that, so that he would be sitting there and he would see that and he would know that that was a bow of respect to him, to put that in the middle of a Kenpo kata, a Goju-Ryu sequence. And that was just to show respect and do a nod to him. And man, when I saw him after that, he said that his chest was out to here. He was so proud of me and so proud. And of course, he was deeply moved by that. Kind of a salutation to him, a salute to him.
Amazing. Well, that's really good. So big shout out to all the staff, all the students
Yeah.
and instructor in the world of Kenpo. So rolling into the interview, what is your background and how did you get into martial arts?
Well, I grew up in Chicago. That's the Chicago area, which is where I was born. And all my life, I was always involved in some pretty extreme physical activity. So I grew up as a competitive gymnast in the winter in Chicago, which are really tough. But then in the summer, I was a springboard diver and, hung with the same guys and competed in both of those all my young life. And then when I left and went to college in Joplin, Missouri, I was either going to go into either some kind of professional dance or martial arts, something movement related, that would still be challenging.
Yeah.
And it just so happened by complete coincidence that the guy I was a roommate with, he was a black belt in Japanese Goju-Ryu under Lou Angel. And the interesting thing was I lived with him for almost a year before I ever knew that. And so I thought, God, how amazing that this guy has that training and has that talent, but he didn't wear it on his sleeve.
Oh, yeah.
He kept it inside to him. And I thought that was really an interesting thing. So first I started learning some Japanese Goju-Ryu from him, and then he introduced me to Lou Angel, who was retired from teaching, but he came out of retirement to start to teach me. And then he reopened his school a short time after that, called the Academy of Self-Defense, excuse me, which remained open throughout the entirety of his life.
That is the true form. I always believe that is the real spirit of a martial artist who doesn't go around announcing it and doesn't wear it on the sleeve like, oh, I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. And the other thing, it's good to just keep it. That's one of the valuable lessons my own sensei said himself. He goes, because I studied Shotokan for a little while. And
great.
Yeah, again, like I said, 80s kid, grew up in the 90s. I blame Van Damme, and I give yourself a bit of a good blame as well to say that. Because obviously he always said the same thing: do only use martial arts for self-defense. There's no need for it to get aggressive, and there's no point going around announcing it to everybody. Oh, I do this, I do that. Keep it quiet, because if you go around saying it to people, someone's always going to want to take you on to see how good you are and everything. Seeing, they say as well that see if your skills are realistic. But at the end of the day, you have nothing to prove to anybody but yourself.
No. No. And, the whole point, which is obviously echoed in your instructor's words too, which is it's about the internal journey.
Yes.
It's about you and you becoming a better person and you having a better positive impact in the very, very short time that we're here together on this earth and in this life. And if you look at it from that point of view, then this whole sport aspect that we've morphed into, being MMA or UFC or any of the others, that's much more of an external.
Oh, yes.
I'm out to prove myself because I can cause another person, man or woman, in whatever case, to fall so I can gain. That's the nature of competition. That is not the nature of martial arts. Martial arts would be about, I would even sacrifice something of myself to help you to have a better life. That's the essence of the martial art. The martial sport is where I must cause a person to fall for me to gain. And you can see that they're very, very different ideas, philosophies of how to approach life. I clearly fall on the side of being a martial artist, which is challenging because street defense has changed so much in the last 10 and then in the last 20 years because of what the Gracie family did with their Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and then the Machado family and then on and on. From there, it's made it, let's face it, MMA is, and Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but especially the Gracies version of it is so street practical. It's incredible. And that caused a great challenge to all of us in the Kenpo world because in the 70s and in the 80s, Kenpo was it, right? It was the street martial art until the Gracies came to town. And then, as I've said countless times, you'll be hard to find somebody who's more grateful to the Gracie and Machado family than me because they showed us very painfully, but they showed us where we were weak
Vulnerable,
and where we needed help. If you're going to make the bombastic statement that the martial art you train is a street art, but you really can't say that these days unless you know how to defend yourself on the ground, which of course is what we did. We incorporated a very robust grappling system in with our stand-up striking art of Kenpo. So it's the combination of those two ideas into one cohesive system, which I would argue to you that's why we are successful as we are around the world, because of that exact thing of this hybridization of these two ideas. We have licensed franchise martial arts schools in 20 countries now.
Wow.
So we've become the largest international organization in the history of Kenpo. And I'm suggesting to you, it's because we evolved and we changed. We didn't stay traditional. We adapted and we try, whether it's good or terrible or successful or failure, that's a subjective point. All I'm trying to say is at least we tried.
Yeah, I think you've succeeded. I think you've succeeded, Sensei Speakman. That is because I can remember one of the things that what you mentioned in one of the other interviews with Scott Adkins was that when you said one of Sensei Parker's, may he rest in peace, I'd like to send peace and blessing upon you both as well. And one of the things he said was, after I'm gone, I hope nobody traditionalizes my art to keep up with the time. Thank you.
Yeah.
I get a compliment.
There you go.
I get a compliment from the
you
perfect
nailed
weapon.
It. You got it. That was perfect.
Oh, thank you, Sensei.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. But you're quite right that I actually point to that quote all the time. I'm usually the one that says it, so to have you say it is just great. But you hit it. I mean, that's exactly the point. I mean, if you were to ask, why have we been able to incorporate something so completely foreign to us? It's because of the brilliant mind of Ed Parker, who was always evolving and changing and growing. And he even had famous quotes like the one you just mentioned. And the other one I refer to is, the ignorant refuse to study and the intelligent never stop. A real martial artist pursues change. He's not afraid of it.
Wow.
And that's exactly what we did. It is brilliant, isn't it? It really is.
That's one of the best quotes I've ever heard.
This is a guy who was really never appreciated, I think, even by his black belts. Because if he was, how come we're the only ones that evolved the art?
Yeah, I remember you.
You know,
I remember you saying that as well, where you're saying that some people are still doing something that's still 40, 50 years old, but they haven't evolved with the time,
exactly
where Sensei
right.
Parker's wishes were to keep up with the time, because if you can, like, say, obviously, it's like kind of, in a way, I'd say writing something in a will, isn't it? You got to respect that,
Yeah,
isn't it? You have to give
right.
respect, because that is one of the biggest lessons martial arts teaches you, is be respectful of other people and their wishes.
Totally, completely, absolutely. And just take a second and reflect on what you just said, and let me ask this question.
Yes, sir.
What would the world be like if more people thought like you and me? To look for respect in one another instead of disrespect. Try to create solutions instead of creating problems. And we have been able to do that in this thing we have, which we call the 50 family,
Oh yeah.
which is a family of all of my schools around the world, where we say the most important thing to us is the love and friendship we have for one another, and the karate is a distant second.
Beautiful.
So it's the more important things of being human and being alive today, and knowing that our lives are going to end one day. And before they end, I want to do what I can to make the world a better place before I die. And that is my mission, and that's what I'm after. And I'm very happy to tell you we have accomplished that in 20 countries, all those different languages, all the different economies of scale, all the different cultural differences. But we have come together as a group, as a family, under the idea of Kenpo 5.0. And it is a wonderful place to live and thrive.
Can imagine. When can I move in as well? My bags are packed already.
Yes, the door is open.
Thank you, Sensei.
I'll be back out there. As I'll be in Exeter in December. I'll be in Paris in November, and each year that time I do a tour of Europe. So I'm out there in a big way and always looking to meet new people and get new people involved in our family.
I'll be there, sir. You don't worry about it. And like I said,
Great.
the coffee's on me. Yeah. I'm guessing.
Yep.
I'm guessing
Yep.
it's milk and 2 sugars. I'm guessing your coffee.
Yes, I'll drink that. You bring that on.
Done deal, sir. Done deal.